sorry to do this to you and take away from the episode, but let's just take a quick pause so that I can ask you one question. Where do you need help improving your photography practice? Do you need help crafting better emails? Do you need help telling a better story with your images? I don't know, maybe it's something entirely different. Aaron and I are offering free, one-time only 30-minute one-on-one video sessions to help you with your specific photography and creative goals. We say this all the time on the show. We're not gurus and we're constantly learning ourselves. However, we do have experience and a track record of figuring things out in this industry, and we're confident that we can help you fast track your learning. So if you're benefiting from the general concepts of these episodes, but you want advice and guidance specifically tailored to your unique needs, you can click the link in the episode description to book a one-on-one, one-time 30-minute virtual session entirely for free. Zero cost, you book it at your convenience, and you get 30 minutes of either mine or Aaron's uninterrupted time. You can use the code FREETRIAL, that's free trial spelled FREETRIAL, at checkout. And now we can get back to today's episode. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Photography Mindset Podcast. I'm half the co-hosting team here, Seth Macy.
And I'm the other half, Aaron Manis.
I always try to figure out how I can change that intro up. There's only so many permutations. There's your word of the day. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? Got a lot of shoots to do? Edit up?
Yeah. I had before last weekend, I was kind of like, I was already run down. Last weekend was great, or this past weekend was great. It was really fruitful in terms of like a good shoot. I had some fun, but it's always exhausting. And then you go right back to work, and then you have all the deadlines of trying to get stuff off your plate. So I'm feeling that. It's Wednesday. I'm in pretty good shape right now, but I do want to, by the weekend, get, I think, just about everything done that I need to. So it was good. Clapper Hollow, shout out to them. They're so awesome. They bought my son a fishing rod and tackle because he mentioned he didn't have one, and they got him one.
That's cool. That's nice.
When I was there, they passed time. So super sweet. The place is awesome. I have some ideas for TPM there, which I will share with you off the air. But I feel like there's some potential for an awesome something. I'm going to keep it at that.
An awesome something.
I'm not going to tell too much.
I laughed today. You posted the Seinfeld reel.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing with our lives? Captioned with photographers being forced to be full-time content creators in 2024. Kind of a build off of last week's episode, where I think we had a passionate episode, which you mentioned to me, let's not tiptoe around things so much when we have a contrarian idea. It can be difficult to do that, but I think I've realized more and more as this show has grown that you're not going to be able to please everybody, and that's not the point. But lots of people messaged me about that. I was shocked. I was maybe not shocked, but just surprised at the amount of people who were like, yeah, it's a drag, essentially like it's a drag having to be a content creator when I just want to take photos. And I was like, holy shit, how many other people feel this way? I mean, like, you got to do the math. If 10 people messaged you, there's a bunch of people who are like, yup, I just didn't message you. So it got me thinking, like, let's dig more into this topic. And then before we clicked record, I got on here and told you about, I kind of have a rough vision, and I mean very rough, and this will maybe be the theme of the episode. The theme of the episode will be decentralizing social media and how we can become the platform, just us versus multi-billion dollar companies. But I have this concept in my head, a very rough concept in my head, of a decentralized social media app that integrates people's websites. So you're following people and you're getting their websites integrated into your feed, kind of like in a subscription model. When you originally in the old days of Instagram, you clicked follow, you were subscribing to somebody and you got to see their stuff, which we know is no longer the case. So an app that's decentralized and it integrates everyone's personal website as a proxy in a way that favors quality over, or doesn't even necessarily, maybe it doesn't even favor at all. It doesn't favor engagement over quality is a better way to put it. And I feel like constructing something like that is a way to allow people to be the platform, which is something else I want to talk about. Like, how can we get better at being the platform and not relying on third-party platforms? Because it's not working. Yet we still keep beating the dead horse. And not only that, but it allows us to own it allows us to have if it's end-to-end encrypted, be totally private and own our data.
Yeah.
Along with our digital assets. So I have a very, very rough vision for how that would work. I'm not saying I would go and execute it, but if I ever want to start a company and try another company and go over tons and tons and tons of hurdles, and you think that you would suit that well-rounded team of tech people, lawyers, etc., hit me up.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, dude, it's interesting. It's an interesting thought. I got messages too. And I think even from not even the reel, but the podcast airing on Monday, people being like, amen to that. And that's, you put into words stuff I've been thinking for a while, comments like that. So I think, I mean, we're coming to a head a little bit, but I'm curious if people will shift. It takes a massive shift to remove yourself from the addiction of what they've created. And like you said before we press record, I mean, they spend billions on human psychology and addictive properties and what makes us all tick. And I think it's a hard ask to step away from it. There is this illusion of my next thing can go viral, or the more I do helps my case in going viral. It's like it's the drug dealer and the clients, call them clients or drug users, I guess. Like it's like, let me give a little for free. Let's get them hooked. And then you just keep having to up the ante to get that same sort of feeling. And it just continues and goes, and it leaves with this tide of muck you have to kind of sift through, where it's completely saturated and everyone's chasing that dragon of fame and fortune, or attention, the attention dragon, whatever it may be. You can kind of see where it can get off the rails a bit from what your original intention was.
Yeah, I feel this is one of those things, because we're heavily, obviously on Instagram, we're involved in the photography, videography, creative space. So I feel like we need to be careful in not making the assumption that the way the people in this industry are feeling digital in the social media realm is the same across all genres. For like a typical person who's not right.
I think it's not.
But it could be. I don't know. But I think at least in our industry, I feel like there is noticeable fatigue with traditional centralized social media, centralized being owned by these big companies who control how, what, when things get seen. And so rewinding back to this vague concept for a decentralized social media app that integrates people's websites, if someone were to do that or create that model successfully, it relies on being correct about a big bet. And that is that people grow tired of algorithm-driven content and chasing engagement. That's a big bet.
That is a big bet. You're shorting a huge company.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're shorting an addiction too.
Yeah, and good luck with that. Good luck with
Right.
that. Unless you change the environment, that's addiction 101. I mean, you can go to rehab in Arizona and be there for 3 months and be clean the entire 3 months, but you come back to your environment, the relationships you're around, the house that you're in, the parties that you go to. It's very easy to relapse. So, what's the environment that's creating the sort of addiction to social media? Is it lack of attention? Is it this feeling of I need a purpose? I need to be seen. I mean, we can get super deep in this
Yeah.
and reflect on even our own journeys and where this all came from. But I do think as like if you go down to the basics of photography and photographers or artists, really in any genre, there was a tide where, in order to get attention, it was less about the artwork, but more about the presentation of potentially the artwork. So you had to develop this other skill. And this other skill is useful. It's useful for companies that want to use social media and potentially hire you. If you know this skill of like, oh, I know how to work the algorithm a bit. It's not just about like a fancy photo or a really good photo or a really creative photo. Like there's got to be some catch. There's got to be some hook. If you think in that way, it's a different sort of skill. But for those of us that used to improve in terms of our engagement, in terms of our following, in terms of our reach outs or DMs or collaborations or what have you, just by posting a photo and feeling like that was enough, the times have changed. And whether that's bad or good or whatever, or just a different vibe, it's either like, hey, this is what works or doesn't work, and kind of looking at it. I think one last point, and then I want to hear your thoughts, are we always say it comes down to like your own values and your own alignment. Like if you want to just show a deer in with fall foliage, that was my last post, that's why it's fresh on my mind. If you just want to show that, then do that. If you just want to show that, but you're doing like a whole reel and production to try to get as many views as possible, and you're miserable doing it, and you feel like this is a waste of time or a waste of effort, then that's where the questions start coming in. Like, what am I chasing, or what am I trying to keep up with? And maybe it's as simple as separating ourselves and saying like, hey, this is the new norm. Instagram is a multifaceted genre sort of thing. You got comedy, you got sports, you got crazy spills, you got people crashing on their bikes, you got stand-up routines, you got podcast clips, I could go on forever about what it is. It's not just pretty pictures anymore. It used to be. Now it's just about everything. And maybe we're comparing ourselves to like apples and oranges. And maybe the new norm is, hey, my photo got 100 likes. That's pretty sick. And being okay with that, versus knowing out there, if I do a really funny reel, I might get 1 million views, and feeling like I need to do that. And like jumping onto the other genres of like, oh, that's more successful if you're humorous or good looking or show off your ripped abs or whatever it is. Like jumping onto those things that get more attention, that becomes the question of what are we doing?
Well, the bigger question that jumps from that, everything you've just said, is, do people grow tired of that? Do people grow tired of consuming formulas? Do people grow tired of consuming algorithmic machine deciding content? Like, do people grow tired of the lack of human element and originality? That is an important question. And back to, you were talking about how people can go to a rehab place in the middle of Arizona and get clean because of the setting. I think it's also important to note that, let's use alcohol as an example. People who are binge drinking a 2-4 a night, like a case of beer a night, know they have a problem, right? Like they know that this probably isn't ideal. I think part of the issue is people, I don't think, Even this thought, I think, is ahead of the curve, that social media is the new smoking, that social media is the new binge drinking. Part of me really believes that, for the detrimental effect on mental health, just activating your nervous system. If you ever cue in on and just like how you feel when you're scrolling, it can be so, it can fly just under the radar, but like you are activated naturally. There's so much stimulation going on. And I feel like if you go back to what, like the 60s, people smoked like chimneys. They drank like fish because they didn't know that it was harmful. You look at today, I was actually Googling this while you're talking. Alcohol consumption among young adults aged 18 to 34 in the United States has decreased by 72% 2 decades ago to 62% today. The prevalence of alcohol use among 16 and 17-year-olds has dropped by 58% between 2002 and 2021. Among 14 and 15-year-olds, it's fallen by 69%. This is from the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And my thoughts are, this is because people know how, I feel like there's been this trend, like people know how horrible some of this stuff is for you. The same with smoking, huge decreases in the amount of people who smoke cigarettes. Do we see that trend with social media? Am I correct in the future? I don't know. Like, do we look back, like I'm looking back on the 60s right now and being like, those people did 4 hours of screen, and 4 is modest, 4 hours of screen time a day? Will that be the same as me saying people smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day and didn't even think twice about it?
I don't know. Time will tell. I do think social media.
If that is the case, though,
yeah,
you have an argument for the concept I talked about at the start of this episode. And conceptually being short on big tech social media, centralized social media. Is that fair to say? Like, if you assume all those things?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you just sprung this idea on me in terms of the platform, or the imaginary platform going forward. I mean, I think it would take a lot. It would take a complete withdrawal from something harmful. You often find with someone that gives up addiction, and I'm talking from my counseling background, someone gives up addiction, they replace it with something else. It might be a healthier something else, quote unquote, but they're replacing it with a something else. So this has infiltrated our lives, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Fortnite, whatever it may be, whatever we're doing, whatever kids are doing. And I do see with cigarettes, and your example is, there's a transition to vaping, and now it's way more accessible for kids to get fruity flavors and have the same sort of harmful effects, maybe in a different way, and maybe a potentially more addicting way. So a lot of people quit cigarettes by switching over to vape, or pocket nicotines, or nicotine patches, or what have you. So there's a lateral sort of move that may be deemed better, but we're not quite there yet. We're not quite healed.
Do people actually believe vaping is better for you?
I think they might believe that.
Come on. I think, like, wasn't that the original push? Like, this is a photography podcast. We don't need to get too into it, but just the vessel you're using as an example. Like, wasn't it like, hey, this is better for you than this other thing? Yeah. And then it was actually, nah, that's not the case. And then didn't vaping statistics or usage drop? I see what you're saying, but my point is, I feel like the awareness of the detrimental effects does have an impact on usage in a negatively correlated way. The more awareness and concise data there are publicly to support how bad something is for your health, the less usage occurs.
Yeah. I don't have research in front of me, but I guarantee there's a direct correlation with amount of social media usage and happiness in life.
Yeah,
guarantee it.
For sure.
And so if you're not replacing with the environment, you're going to find something else, or the power is to too powerful. And I'm just, to your example, over the years, there's been many options in terms of, hey, join this new app. I'm so sick of Instagram. Join this new app that shows photos. Join, I'm not Vero, 500px, Viewbug. There's a whole bunch of different apps that are photo based. There's something about social media or the billions they've spent on the algorithm that keeps us going on this thing. Maybe it's just the engineering of it, the architecture of it. It's pretty overall. It's a pretty neat and functional app. If you think about like, wow,
sure.
like what this does a lot of stuff. This one app in terms of being able to share content. I think it can just grab on to you in terms of that.
Yeah, your point on this is very interesting. It's like there's been these. Every few years, there's this wave or this movement, like everybody, let's leave, let's go to Vero. So let's. I'm tired of this. So the urge is there, which is fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me that when was that? 2-3 years ago? All you could see for a week was leaving. I'm going to Vero. I'm going to Vero. It's like people want so desperately out of this this matrix. So the urge is there. The desire to leave a centralized social media platform is there for so many people, but the momentum is never strong enough. And that's very interesting to me in the sense of, okay, it's not unlikely that eventually there is something that has enough momentum to essentially have a breakout that lasts or that remains the trend for quite some time.
A lot of it is, and I've seen it with, what the hell's the Twitter version? The Twitter X. But what's the Threads? It's the chase of the dragon becomes fresh. So it's a new drug for a minute. It's, I've set up this account. I'm getting new attention from this new account. My Threads was brilliant with like just front loading followers. Oh, I got 100 followers on Threads today
instantly. Just migrate your followers from Instagram.
Well, that was thousands, but like even now I'll get notifications. I don't really go on Threads, and it's like you got 100 new followers on Threads. I'm like, why? Like they're just but zero on it. Like, so it's this, Threads gets me that hit, that high, that attention sort of seeking that I'm finding. And I mean attention. We all want attention. I don't mean it in I need attention sort of way, but attention for our work. We want external validation for what we're doing. And when you go to a new platform, there's this initial sort of burst in energy and new faces and new tchotchkes and likes and this and whatever that you're doing. And it sort of just brings you to this high that you're like, oh, but you know what? The drug that I'm really addicted to is attention. And I'm chasing it the best or the most on Instagram, and I fall back to it. Now there might be some people that jump ship and just completely stay over on Vero or whatever they're doing, Viewbug or 500px. Sure. But for the majority, I feel like it's like these little flashes in the pan, and then they come back and they're just still doing their thing, and they're still posting over here, and they're still trying to make it or do it or what have you. So I don't know what the pull is. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe we've touched upon it for certain people or certain groups of people. I know for myself what it's been. I know what I've tried to get out of it, and it's 100% attention.
Yeah. I think an interesting concept here that applies, and I truly believe this, is that people will do more to avoid pain than they will do to gain pleasure, meaning that people will make a radical change. They'll start a new diet or running, or they'll leave a platform when the pain is bad enough, not when the potential fruits seem really favorable. You know what I'm saying? So like somebody might change their diet after their first heart attack. That's pretty big pain. You know, that's a pretty big sign. So this begs the question, what needs to happen and to what severity for people to decide, hey, you know what, this isn't for me, or to decide, hey, I want to be the platform. I'm going to figure out creative ways to bring people to my platform, whether that's a website or I mean, I guess it really only is a website. What else can you call digitally that's entirely yours? YouTube videos are not. Your Instagram feed is not. That's all we really currently have, which is why I was sitting there thinking, like, if you could create an app, I mean, people might argue that that's not really yours, but if you could design it in a way that proxied, just integrated everyone's own thing that they had going on. These are the things I think about in the shower.
Yeah. Your showers
I don't have all the
intense.
details. Forgive me. But
yeah, you don't quite have it mapped out completely, but I do see
the concept made sense to me.
I see your point, and I don't shame anyone or blame anyone for having an algorithm. And I'm talking about, by anyone, I mean Instagram. I mean, I follow 1,300 people. I don't want to, right? But like over the 5 years, that's what the numbers got up to. It's a whatever it is. I'm not going to sift through those to see my favorite people.
That's what I was going to say too, to an earlier comment you made. So this concept, this fictitious platform we've been talking about, relies on the fact that people are okay with less as well. Like you mentioned, like, hey, maybe 100 likes is the new normal. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a complete unwinding of more, and going in the direction of less. But really, I really care about these people or this business. I'm going to see what they're up to. Maybe we're talking 25. Maybe you're subscribed to 25. You know what I'm saying?
I want to do something real quick.
Could you name, if you thought about it for 5 minutes, people you would really check in on because you enjoy them, you enjoy their work, you like their business? You just talked about at the start of this episode, Clapper Hollow bought your son a fishing rod because they're super nice people. They have beautiful properties. You're not telling me you wouldn't check in on what they were doing once a week?
Yeah, I might. It also might get lost in the shuffle. So I don't mind.
I guess.
I don't mind that the algorithm tries to be smart and send me.
I don't think it does.
Maybe
the algorithm tries to keep you on your phone as long as possible with memes, people doing outrageous stuff. Like it's past the point. And then every third post is an ad. So like you're not even getting what you're signed up for.
No. Yeah, I somewhat disagree though. The people I talk to the most on Instagram, their stuff still comes through. Nooch doesn't even use hashtags, and I see every photo of his. Like,
okay, so then why have 1,200 following?
I could probably go through and erase them. It's all
but
dog.
Ballpark. How many people would you actually care to see?
Yeah.
Be honest.
I don't know,
50?
but any one of them, for whatever reason that I followed, was for a reason at the time.
And the reasons are funny too, though. Oh, I don't want to unfollow them. Maybe there's a potential brand deal in the future.
Yeah.
Or, oh, like they have a connection with this person. It's all this, sometimes this game.
Okay, dude, placate me. What are the whys for why someone might share their photography and or video on Instagram? What are the real whys? I'm making a list, so let's just rattle them off. They want to improve their business, so they want to
make money with photography. Okay. They want to be viewed as skilled and good.
Okay,
and
so that's
a lot of people. And a lot of people feel that the numbers equate to that.
We want to make money. What's another one?
I want my friends and family. I want my friends and family to see what I'm up to.
Yep, friends and family. I think straight up attention is one.
I want people to agree that my work is good. Is that one? Is that fair?
External validation, maybe.
Okay.
External validation.
Maybe a small pie. Want feedback.
Okay. That's a good one. We'll include that pie piece.
Okay. Meet new like-minded people through their photos.
Meet people.
Okay. Get
So we
free
got make,
stuff. I don't know.
make
Can make.
I'll put that with the make money, like
Okay.
deals, right? Attention, friends and family, keeping them updated, external validation, feedback, and meet people. Let's just stick with there. So
And
let's
that pie
give
is definitely not all even. Like that's definitely
no, but let's give scenarios where I'll do the first one and you'll catch on to what I'm doing. All right,
okay. I'm excited.
make money. Instead of deciding I need to do this through Instagram, there are different avenues, different platforms, even different avenues where you can put your attention. Okay. So that's what I'm saying for each of these. I'm going to take, I want my art seen. So attention. Okay. Instead of posting on Instagram, I could go to every local restaurant and suggest a gallery. Now we have real people looking at your work that you've hung up, potentially reaching out for prints, maybe buying prints on the spot, going to your website, knowing you as a local person that could potentially take photos. The list goes on. That is a different way that you can attack the idea of I want people to see my art. It's a real life example. So what I'm looking for are what are real life examples of how we can go about getting the same thing, because we need to replace the addiction. We need to replace the addiction with a real life thing to change the environment and fill our cup. Whatever our cup is, we need to fill it with something actually real. Because I keep thinking of Adam Capola, one of the most successful business photographers that we've talked to. Really cool gigs, really cool info, really excited, really happy with his career. Not a huge following on Instagram, barely posts on it. Right. So he's doing other things to be successful. So what are those?
And potentially fill those cups you've just mentioned.
Yeah. So
like you don't think he gets validation when he signs $100,000 contract and sees his commercial on TV?
Of course. So
right.
I want my artwork to be seen. I'm going to restaurants. I'm hanging things at Birch Hill Tavern down the street. I'm asking around. I'm going to galleries. I'm going to bookstores. I'm seeing locally even what I can do to show my artwork.
But Aaron, it's not free. I got to pay to have those printed.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pause right here, because here's the huge misnomer. I had this conversation with a child today. Anything worthwhile takes hard work and investing in yourself. I don't care if it's time or money or what. There is just about nothing that comes for free. And there's this weird misnomer with social media. We call it the lotto effect, that, this one photo, if I keep posting this one photo, or one photo is going to stick out, and National Geographic's going to call and send me on my way. Could it happen? I suppose. Is it going to happen? Unlikely. It comes from hard work, no matter what we're doing, and or investment. So yeah, if I want my photo seen in a place, I might have to take the chance. And if I believe in myself and my ability, I'm saying this might be a good business decision to post 4 of my favorite prints in a gallery or a hallway of a restaurant, and hope that I sell 2 of them, which will cover 4 and my next 4 that I'm going to buy. And that is creating opportunity and business, but it takes money sometimes to make money. So
what's your worst case too? Free advertising. Maybe you're selling something else on your website. Maybe people aren't interested in your print. Maybe they're interested in having you photograph or video their business.
And print stuff you want to give to gifts for someone for Christmas or the holidays, or put up in your own living room. Stuff that you're comfortable with. If I don't sell it, I'm putting it right there at that wall space. It's a win-win. It really is. So in that scenario, yes. Other attention, print a calendar for your mom and dad. Print a few prints. When their friends come over, they'll say, "Well, that picture's beautiful. Who did that?" "Oh, my son did that." oh, really? Like, I want that. Like, there are 1,000 little different avenues to fill that cup of I want people to see my work. Does it have more of a substantial return at a low level? I think so. Does it have the opportunity for a huge return, a viral situation with your photo at a restaurant in your local town? Probably not. Is the executive of Nat Geo going to go to the restaurant in your town and need to know who did that photo? Probably not. But more actual,
Maybe the same likelihood though as them seeing it on
maybe,
Instagram.
maybe.
If we're being honest.
Yeah, if we're being honest. The idea though is that they're not, right? The idea is on
Right.
Instagram I have a chance. So that's mine. Which one do you want to tackle?
Well, I just want to clarify too. I just want to like really spell it out. Like the point of this exercise, I feel like, is for people who want to leave but aren't convinced that they can fill these buckets. And you are showing them that there is a way to do so.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on.
Which one do you want to do?
We rifled them off so fast, I can't even remember.
You want to make money. What's a different way than trying to prove yourself on Instagram?
Build your website. You can shoot products and stuff around your house entirely for free. You can build a portfolio. You can go to Amazon.com, type in canoes, message every single canoe manufacturer, say, hey, not sure, do a little bit of research, craft an email that's relevant to them, asking if they have content needs. Here's a YouTube ad I did for another canoe company. It was really successful. They were happy with it. Here's a testimonial from them. Do this 50 times and relink back to the page on your website that has a beautifully curated portfolio of canoe photos shot vertically, shot horizontally. Maybe there's video, and do that 20, 50 times.
Yeah, perfect. Friends and family, keeping up.
Hey, Mom, here's a photo I took. I just airdropped it to my iPhone.
Do you like it? I thought you would like it. Yes. Yeah, I mean,
text your cousin.
It's
text your aunt. Post to your personal Facebook.
Needing strangers to give you attention or external validation.
I love socials for this. I've met so many cool people, so I can't dunk on socials here. Mm-hmm. I really can't. Now, that being said, it's not impossible to just go out to trade shows, to photo expos, to camera clubs. All that stuff is still very relevant. I feel like just doing it digitally allows you to have and connect with people all over the world. Like I know people in every single continent that I probably would call friends, which is remarkable.
Yeah, again, social media is not all bad. It's kind of amazing in a lot of different ways. These are sort of the what ifs. Well, I can't stop this for a month because, or I can't keep posting all the time because I'm just hoping that someone's going to recognize or see. It's kind of we're disclaiming that. So I mean, to add to that, I think you can meet a ton of people, you can have a lot of stuff, but again, the attention piece, I think really looking deep and like, is this about sharing my art or people loving me? And like, what part is missing? Not to get too deep or sad or touch any thorns in anyone's heart, but what part is missing from my life that I'm spending so much time caring about what strangers think and how much they are doting on my photos or work.
Yeah. And I think even more so, like, I ask myself this question this regularly, and it's something I think you've taught me. It's, where am I not free?
Yeah.
That's an excellent question. Where do I feel not free and why?
Yeah. Because if you don't feel free, if you don't feel like you can stop something or walk away, you're not free. So
you're owned by it. Correct.
Yeah. So there is a why there. There's some learning to be undone. There's some triggers or some injury or some wound that might need some healing. I truly believe that.
Yeah. And then how you want to go about that is, I mean, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I feel like lots of methodology.
Mm-hmm.
available.
Yeah. So to wrap that up, I guess the point being is there's many reasons why we might post on social media and try to make a name for ourselves, but there's many other ways that are possible to do that in real life, IRL, in real life as well. That can be sort of in a different way, but maybe equally or more substantial. Maybe less, like more quality, less quantity.
Yeah, I feel like the vastness, the digital ocean of social media is what is part of the temptation. There just feels like there's so much opportunity and lands to be discovered that we're all trying to discover the new world, you know? And then I feel like bring it back home with everything we just talked about, local restaurants doing gallery, let's say, or all those things, you feel like you're in a small pond. But really, are you going to explore that whole ocean? I mean, at what point, I guess the question is, at what point is, I'm trying to phrase this in a way that makes coherent sense. Like, do you need to explore the whole ocean? Do you need that feeling like that there's something always to be found?
That's another why. Another question.
We talked about this earlier on. So every once in a while, I will go through my following and I will unfollow people. Not because I think I'm better than them or anything like that. Just a lot of the time, my criteria is, have I ever had a DM with this person? If I haven't had a DM with them, I unfollow them. We're not even talking. So let's do ourselves both a favor here. Would I say hello to them on the street? Have they posted at all in the last 2 years? Do I like their work? Is it something I'm interested in? But I'm going to be super honest here. I struggle with clicking the unfollow button a lot of the time. I mean, I'm following over 1,000 people too. I couldn't even name 1,000 people.
No, right.
But sometimes I'll go through my psychology with you right now of when I'm unfollowing people. I wish I'm having my phone up as a monitor recording, so I would actually do this live, but I'll have to do it in my head. Imagine someone's listening. I just unfollow.
Call the person out randomly. They're like, "Hey, I listened to your show. What the hell?"
Sometimes I'll follow a company with the thoughts of like, this is kind of in my niche. Maybe I'll message them later. And then they follow me back, let's say. Let's keep going with the canoe company as an example. And then for whatever reason, I haven't messaged them or we don't talk. And then I want to go unfollow them. And there's this, like maybe you're canceling an opportunity forever. So better to just be safe and not unfollow them. Or, this person has 200,000 followers, or, they know this person, they may be a good liaison for a connection, or might be somebody that I want to keep close. Like these social games we play. And I've caught myself doing that stuff and I don't like doing that. And I've gotten way better at not doing that anymore. But these are the things we think about, I think, when we're trying to clean house and curate our feed. And it can be really hard to click unfollow.
Yep. I have
like,
to
what's
agree.
your thoughts? Why do you have 1,200 why are you following 1,200 people? You don't know 1,200 people.
No, I guess over the years it's added up, and likewise stuff. Oh, this person follows me. Oh, they have decent stuff. I'll give them the follow back. I like their stuff. Whatever. In that moment,
And 2 years goes by.
Yeah, a cabin
like,
follows me.
They were really nice. They're really nice. I feel so bad clicking this.
Yeah,
right?
You can. Yeah, and it's like it's there or it's not there. I don't know. Yeah, but I hear you in terms of like cleaning it out. I should say often, but every once in a while I'm like, I gotta slim this down, and I go to slim it down, and then I get like stuck on a few, like you're saying, and I'd be like, oh well.
I want to know what goes through your head. Like what gets you stuck when unfollowing somebody?
Yeah, maybe it's like, oh, we did we did talk, and they did support my stuff, and their stuff's decent. I just haven't been shown it in a while. Sometimes it helps me to click on someone and be like, oh, I'm going to like their stuff. I haven't seen it. Like,
Classic.
Here's a blast. Here's a blast of some likes.
Here's 20 likes.
Yeah. From like 3 months ago. I just do one random one. All those moves. But yeah, I think it's the whole, it's probably the whole thing. It's in a microcosm in terms of following people or unfollowing people is like, ooh, what if I miss out on this thing? There's a lot of FOMO.
It's got to be FOMO. Yeah, that's it. What if I miss out on an opportunity? What if I miss out on keeping a follower? What if I miss out on, name your variable, you know?
Yeah. But back to your point of, I think this is an important one. Like, I think a lot of people, we would say we consider ourselves artists or photographers, right? And I think if we took music, and maybe it's an easier art form to take a look at how toxic this can be for photographers. If we took music and I'm like, oh, Zach Bryan's popular, I'm going to do his exact same song, but I'm going to change the lyrics. And I'm posting just complete copies of it, but it's like my spin of it. And you're like, that's a Zach Bryan melody, isn't it? Like, oh, that's kind of the same. And then you did the same thing. Oh, that Zach Bryan went viral for his song, and Mantis Photography went viral for his song. I'm going to do the same one, but I'm going to change the lyrics a little bit, or I'm going to do it on piano. That just wouldn't fly. It wouldn't fly in any other art form. But what we tend to do as like videographers and content creators is like just latch on to, oh, that was a good idea, I'm going to do that, without any sort of. In music, it's easier to see, like, I'm just ripping that off. That doesn't feel good. Right? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But now it's sort of like oh, Seth had a good idea that went viral, I'm going to do the same thing. And we all do it. The meme we did today was like from a different concept, but we just changed it to, oh, that's funny with the thing we did. Like it's not necessarily coming from the ethers or from our own minds where it's like, I'm going to try to be really creative. It's like, I'm just going to copy a mold so that I get more of the drug. I get more of the but does that really feel good when you're like, oh, my video went viral? Yeah, but you copied it. So it's got to be like those people that absolutely rip off a song and then a couple of years later are in court trying to fight, like, dude, that's the same exact intro as Michael Jackson's Thriller, or like whatever it is. Like you just completely ripped it off. And they're like, no, well, the beats are slightly different. It's like, dude, that can't feel good. The whole process of like, oh, my stuff went viral, and but I just got like, I totally just ripped it off from this other person.
Yeah. Yeah, I like looking at videos that I really like and studying the format. For me, the format is what's interesting. And then, okay, how can I use this format as a foundation? How can I, with my different subject matter entirely, start with this template and then vary from it? That's kind of my approach.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think
especially
it's fine.
In the learning phase with video. Like, oh, I really like the structure of this advertisement. I need to make an advertisement. I'm not going to shoot the same shot exactly, but I like how this shot cut here and cut there and then went into this extended. I like studying format. I think that's very useful.
Yeah.
And then because you can learn a lot about what is successful in general. And then I feel, to use your example of music, you learn the chords. You learn the strumming patterns, and then you vary.
Yeah, different. That's like, different than copying, right?
Right. Your question is interesting. What is copying then?
Yeah. And, yeah. Okay.
Plus, the other thing too is that you can have a thought that you feel is original, but there's just so many damn people in the world that it's been done.
That's fine.
Let's also say that.
That's fine. It's still original. There's a million songs that have a GCD chord progression that are what's that one reel? The C, G, A minor, F, like that
Get music reels.
That sort of chord progression has been used in like 200 famous songs. The No Woman No Cry, One by U2, like it just goes on forever in terms of we've used this progression a million times, but there's a different, it makes sense. The chord progression is a formula that works in terms of music theory. Just like, your opening shot, mid shot, detailed shot might be a theory in some sort of film school where it's like this is a formula I'm going to copy, but I'm going to do my own subjects, I'm going to do my own color grading, I'm going to do my own thing. And it came from either original concept that you just need a format for or what have you. I'm talking more about in the terms of, let's use the analogy and then I'll go to real life. If I said, hey, I want to start writing some music, and I just went to Beatles chords or Beatles songs, and I just wrote down, oh, Hey Jude is this, I'm going to write all these chords down. Like, it's not coming from my heart. I guess that might be a thing. Now, if it came from like, hey, I want to write a song about my son, and I just happen to do the same chords as Hey Jude, or it's pretty close, and I'm singing my own melody and it's my own lyrics, but it came from here and it came from scratch in a sense, that's more of a coincidence. And there's lots of people in the world, and there's only so many chords. There's only so many shots we can do. There's only so many video progressions and transitions that we can have. I get all that. I think it's when you literally see something that's like catchy and like, I don't want to say cheap, but like, hey, this was a I got you, like an I got you video, not something that's what you are saying you are artistic. This is like I'm going to roll around and show you pictures until I get to 5,000 followers. I saw someone else do it. I'm going to do that same exact thing because it worked for them. There's no heart in that. You can't convince me that there is. That's a simple, like, I just want more followers and I'm going to do it in any way that's possible. That's not me actually working and like figuring out some sort of creative way.
Well, I guess maybe there's different kinds of, maybe people are reward driven in different ways. Like maybe the individuals you're describing are the results of the reward. Maybe. I think I agree with you in the sense that getting to a headspace where the reward is difficult to do, but more fulfilling. I mean, we all know there's no better feeling than that moment when you have a creative breakthrough. That aha moment, like, that's cool. And I came to it all on my own. Yeah. We've all had those and they feel really good.
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, so when you're sitting there writing the song about your son from scratch, it's going to take you a longer time because you're going to struggle with what maybe sounds good. You're maybe going to make one song in the time you could make 4 by going to Beatles chords and doing that. So what does completing the song from an original standpoint in your example, what does that do for you as a creator? Why is that a good thing?
Because it's mine. And if it does go viral, if it does get out there, I know that it's mine. If it does go out there and it goes viral and I get all these followers and attention from Seth, say you post something and it does well, and I just completely rip that off and I post it and I get 50 million views on it and my account blows up. You were the original creator and you, whether you know or not, are sitting there going like, dude, what the, like you just copied my original thought. So somewhere there's an original thing. I saw a post, a girl is holding, it's a fall post. We've all seen every fall post ever.
I haven't gotten any fall stuff since I ripped on it on the podcast. So it knows.
Yeah, I guess it heard. This girl's holding a different colored leaf in like a 16 by 16 boxed video, and she's just twisting leaves. It's her thumb and a sweater and twisting leaves. And listen, I don't know if she copied that or it's the first one or whatever, but I've never seen it. And I went, oh, that's a good idea. Like that's
Okay, now pause. Can I interrupt? Because I have that question that pertains to exactly what we've been talking about. Okay, so it's her twisting a leaf in a 16:9, just different leaves throughout the video, right?
Yeah, there's boxes. It's kind of like
It's boxes. There's like 10 going on all at once, right? It's super stimulating, super engaging, super visually interesting, and sounds very original and creative. Okay, great. Now you watch that, okay, and you do work for Telefunken microphones.
Mm-hmm.
What if you now go and do that with the microphones? Are you copying?
It's not an original idea if it came from that.
Okay, so then follow-up question. So I guess like in that sense, so what? Especially if you're doing that work for a commercial purpose.
I agree with you. I think there's a slash between artistic gain versus knowing what the algorithm wants for a marketing campaign. That is a different ball game. And I think marketing, you have to know what works. You have to know what is tricky. You have to know what little things you can do from those ideas. I'm more okay with that. I am, because it's like you want to trick the machine. You want to trick the machine for views and potential follows for them and likes and engagement. That is why they're hiring you. If they love your photos and no one sees them, it doesn't do them much good. It just doesn't.
You won't get hired again. Right.
So there is a game there when we're talking about marketing, where you have to kind of like, I think, cheapen the art of it to either have a balance between the art and the game, or at least being able to say like, hey, like this is my idea and it's getting you some attention. Here's a good example. I just did work with Clapper Hollow. I have a fly through that I absolutely love. It's on the hillside. It's sunrise. It's beautiful. You guys will see it soon. The entire clip, because it's a gigantic property with speed ramping and everything, is about 1 minute and 15 seconds. I know that won't do well in terms of a reel. I just have a feeling that it's way too long when 8 seconds does well, 9 seconds does well, 10 seconds does well. For me, I am posting the whole thing because I like the whole thing.
Or to meet the topic of this episode, can you post 8 seconds and then say, watch the full video on my website?
Yeah, you could. And for them,
now you're the content. Now you're the platform.
For them, I do suggest let's break this into tangible, edible sections. You could post the whole thing if you want it in entirety, but this is also available for, here's the fishing pond. Boom, done. That's the first 8 seconds. Here's a fly over the trees changing in fall. There's another 8 seconds. So there's a difference between artistic and what works on this platform.
Yeah,
there really is.
I've been thinking more and more about how can the funnel be to my platform, my website. It's like in this example, it could be like post it on Instagram, 8 seconds, something engaging, flashy that plays the game. Watch the full video on my website, where you can also, I know this isn't the case in this instance, where you can also enter a giveaway to stay at Clapper Hall Lodge.
Yeah.
You know, like now it's the funnel to your platform. So I'm trying to think of getting into the habit of how can I creatively make the lane go to where it's my platform, not somebody else's. Like I've started to get into the habit of my profile is Instagram's. It's not mine to an extent.
Yeah. And again, the whys, what are we looking for? I think we know it. There's a lot of good ways to spend your time in terms of getting those whys. That isn't just social media, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or whatever you're doing. There's other ways to go about it. I think we have this illusion that it's going to be the savior. Speaking of it, like Zach Bryan, like didn't he become famous from posting on TikTok? Like it does. See, that's the problem. It does happen. You can blow up in some sort of way. There's got to be talent and I think creativity behind it. it's no one blows up that's just been copying the whole way through. Like there's the accounts that we follow that seem to do really well. There is a sense of originality to it. It's people with great personalities or great humor or skits or bits or what have you. Yeah. I sent you a golf video the other day. I was like, dude, I love how this is just filmed. Like, yeah, it's a funny one. Like, I don't know if maybe you didn't see it, but it's golf and it's funny, but it's filmed and acted so well. And now like I'm addicted to this skit. They do golf skits. They do funny things about golf and they're really like intricate but true things. And the production quality is amazing. And I'm just like, this is really original. It's hard to make golf super funny. Like they do a really good job. They're really good at it. So it's like, and their account is blowing up and they're getting deals and they're doing like, it does come, but usually behind it, it's not a one night it's not a one night thing, like where it's overnight success is what I'm trying to say. It's not that. It's usually behind it. There's like a ton of originality and work that goes into it.
Yeah. I feel like this show was sort of that. Because originally, I don't know if I've told this story in a while, but originally when I started the podcast before you, I went looking for a podcast that blended mindset principles for the creative person. And maybe that existed, but I didn't really find what I was looking for. So I was like, I'll just make it.
Mm-hmm.
And gutted through a year of like 20 plays an episode. You know, because I believed in the format. Is the show the biggest thing on the planet? No. Has it been a success in my eyes and in your eyes? Of course. We've met so many people. It's grown. Like it's just, my point being is I think you're right. When on a couple points you've made, it's when you can kind of pick something you're really interested in and explain it or talk about it in an interesting format, whether that's video or podcast or audio, and stick with it and believe in it and be passionate about it, where people can sense that you believe what you're doing or creating, people will hang around. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, humans love vulnerability and honesty. And we have amazing bullshit detectors. So I think like I like to believe our shtick is, hey, let's call each other and talk about photography. Sometimes with a guest, sometimes ourselves, sometimes just about current events, sometimes about an issue, sometimes about growing pains in the industry. And if anyone's listening and they're like, well, you know, these guys are wrong, maybe we are, or maybe it's an opinion, or maybe we're off base. That's okay, because I think we're just saying what we truly think about the situations. So I think that in itself and in anyone, what they're doing is an attractive quality. If you're able to just be true to what you're doing, it's fine. It's very there's a lot of times, and again, I don't love being judgmental or having these moments, but sometimes I'm an observer. Again, I'm a counselor. I work with kids all the time about like these kinds of things and social media, and like I said, playing Fortnite too much or not sleeping. Like there's a lot of this stuff that's repetitive themes in my life. So sometimes I see accounts where immediately it does not feel genuine. It makes me go like, are you okay? Like, in a way, like, do you need a hug? Like, what are we grasping for? What are we trying so hard to get that we don't have fulfilled? And there's a big difference to me between like hard work and grasping. Does that make sense?
Elaborate on the difference.
It's very clear when someone's like, this person consistently is working hard at their craft. And maybe they're documenting it, but they're documenting the work. And it's clear it's not like they're documenting fake work. They're not, what did you call it? LARPing? They're not LARPing.
Right.
They're
live action role play, pretending to be the character.
They're literally showing their craft all the time. And it might be a little bit boring, but like you can see the truth and the genuine heart that is going through the artist's veins and what they're presenting, what they're doing. And they might be sharing that process, but the process is clear. And then there's the ones that are displaying how much of an artist they are by marketing whatever, marketing themselves, marketing a vision, marketing a slow motion walk in the woods to show how cool they are. But it's not the actual art. It's not the actual photo. It's not the actual work behind it. It's a distraction. It's something else. And again, I think where we come together is we have to lose the addiction to the attention. We have to say, Rick Rubin, the audience is last. I am posting this photo because I freaking like it. And that's the end of it. I don't need to get 500 likes on this or I'm depressed. I don't need to get a Reels bonus because this reel went viral when I only wanted to really take this photo and share this photo. When we get back to our true reason for sharing the art, that's when the platform shifts. And even if it's our small segment of photographers, it shifts in terms of like, algorithm's going to pay attention to what you stay on, what you look at. So if you are looking at photography and posting photography and engaging with photography, it'll probably shift towards that. If you are engaging and creating content that's just a different style, it's going to create that in your feed. So the question becomes, as it always is like, where is our true alignment and what are we truly trying to get from this? And then you better be doing it.
And maybe that means less digitally.
Maybe that means less digitally.
Or digitally on your own platform. As I keep saying, like there are ways to fill buckets that way and to start looking at Instagram as the funnel.
Yeah. Go do the thing and do it.
And when you're done, ask if you've filled the bucket that you identified was important. I think that's and a useful thing as well.
Here would be a great challenge. This would be a great challenge.
Hit me up. Let's hear it.
Only post something if it's your top 10 created thing ever. Top 10 photo you've ever gotten, you can post it. Top 10 video, editing, color grading, you're proud of it, you can post it.
That's interesting. What's the thought behind that?
You will push yourself to then, okay, this is not about quantity. This is about quality. I don't care if it takes me 8 days to get this buckshot in the woods behind my house where I've seen glimpses of this deer. I'm going to set out every morning and get the light perfect and find the shot. And until I find that shot and feel like this was a great execution of wildlife photography and editing, I'm not going to shoot. Or I'm not going to just post a bunch of different stuff because I need to keep the beast going. I need to keep the feed going. I need to see likes come across my feed. I need to see fire emojis. You're awesome photo, anxiety,
bro. Dude, I'm like covering my ears, like even though I have headphones on.
Headphones.
That stressed me out there. I'm gonna be honest with you.
What part?
Just you speaking fast. Like I need to see likes. I got to post. I got to keep up with it. This like that. Like oh
yeah. So if you were challenged,
I'm not even.
If you were challenged, if you were challenged to only post something that you deemed your top 10, call it top 20. I'm just making up numbers, but you see my point. Top 20 production, and that can change over time, right? Oh, now this bumped into the top 20. I'm proud of this one. This bumped into the top 20. I'm proud of this one. I'm going to post it.
I see what you're saying. My caveat would be following, our advice and not going out and saying, I got to create something top 20 for so that it's post worthy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
getting it backwards.
Yeah.
Or if you want to make this challenge even harder, shoot something or film something or create something that's one of the best things you've ever done and don't post it.
Yeah, that's even harder. There you go.
I've stumbled across that so many times. I mean, I've made a lot of stuff and edited a lot of cool shots that don't make it on my feed. And I'm bothered by the fact that I'm not bothered by that. And I've come to realize that one of my buckets is I just like filming.
Mm-hmm.
I just like taking pictures and uploading them to Lightroom and going, oh, I nailed that. Or finishing a video sequence and being like, that tells a really good story. Like, that fills my buckets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somebody who likes to create things. I like to come up with ideas and do them. The publishing part for me isn't as important. Is that maybe not optimal for advancing my career? Perhaps. But in terms of filling my needs, it does. I like filming. I like making stuff. I like coming up with ideas, creating things, executing, and I feel good doing that. Is that going to be everybody? No. But I've understood that that's how I operate. Would I like to post more? Sure. Is it absolutely critical for me? No. I'll put it on my website. I'll put it on 500px. I'll get around to it. I'm notorious for when I'm doing something cool, not storing it. I think about it sometimes when I'm in the field, like, oh, this would be interesting for people to see. And I'm like, I'm too involved in what I'm doing right now to stop. I'm too involved in what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying myself too much right now to break my flow. It's just not worth the cost.
Yeah, then I think that is you can't be both. Like that was my point. Maybe a couple episodes ago. You can't be both. You can be one or the other, but I think advertising that you're the other when you're doing the other, that's where it gets like our bullshit meter goes like, I don't know about that.
Right. Because then you have to produce it after the fact.
Right.
Whereas I'd rather just, I mean, and I see like maybe if you're producing a cinematic video, that's part of the final product. And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you that you can tell when that is genuinely made. Right. And the reason behind it.
Yeah, there's usually like a stronger narrative or creative idea that's tied to it. And you're like, oh, that at least took some thought. It's not just a throwaway thing. And I will say this, all my thoughts here come from self-reflection. This is not much judgment this is judgment as a whole on Instagram, but more my journey through this thing of totally coming out of the blue as a 36-year-old and having social media for the first time as like trying your first beer for the first time. Like it was like, whoa, and people are giving me attention. Like it was overwhelming. And I threw so much stuff at the wall. Like talk about like,
you have to
Mantis Mood. I was doing like,
you have to do stuff.
I went nuts. And a lot of it was disingenuous in terms of what I was really trying to hone into. Like it was a snow globe shooken up, and I think it's still settling to some degree in terms of like where it will all land. However, I just remember in the beginning being like if I look back on stuff, I'm like, especially story stuff or Mantis Mood or any of that, I was like, Jesus Christ, I was trying hard. Like I was
good though.
Yeah. That's all fine. So I get I get where some people are in their journey, and I'm not judging that. I think I'm a little bit on the other side of it, and I can look back and go like, oh, that's maybe what this was all about.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have known that without doing the thing, without shaking the snow globe, is my point. Like, do stuff. Do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Again.
So that you can come to said realizations. You don't need to be, I feel like you don't need to be ashamed or annoyed or embarrassed by doing a lot of stuff that didn't stick or you realize now was disingenuous. Maybe in the moment you were just trying it out to see if it was something you wanted to, like, I don't know if, can you be entirely genuine from the start? Maybe you're just, the point I'm trying to make is maybe the passion comes after trying something. Are you passionate about wakeboarding before you strap on wakeboarding boots? No.
Yeah, no.
You go for a tow and you say that was sick. I want to do that every night.
Yeah.
Or I'll go a few more times and then you realize it's stupid. I don't really want to dislocate my knee. But you wouldn't have known that, is my point. You can't always have the most genuine of intentions prior to passion. You have to experiment.
No, but if you're trying to do wakeboarding to impress a girl and has nothing to do with you, then that's where you can ask the why and what are my intentions and what do I actually want from this, and maybe skip a lot of that sort of throwing spaghetti at the wall sort of thing. Like I guess what I've learned from my experience is be you genuinely from the start and be the artist that you are, whether you have 100 followers or 1 million. I don't think it matters if you're not being who you are. Like,
be yourself.
Be yourself. That's where we get into trouble in our relationships, in our lives, is like we've created this facade of who we think we need to be accepted.
It's a charade.
It's a charade versus being unapologetically ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And showing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and showing the art and showing the process. That's all fine. I think it's where it's like,
right. This is me. I'm trying to get better every day. This is where I'm at now. This is what I like doing. This is what I'm going to do. Take it or leave it attitude. I'm not sorry about it.
Yeah, those are the sick ones. Those are the good ones that like everyone's like, that guy's cool or that girl's cool or I want to follow that person. Like that's the truth. That's the truth that we look for. It is, you know, and there's a beautiful balance in that too. Like sometimes we can share too much. So I digress.
Yeah.
I digress.
Sure. Well, if you're a lawyer, tech person, if you have tons of money you want to invest as a venture capitalist, you want to, you believe in my vision for this app and you want to hear more about decentralizing a social media platform that can integrate people's websites so that they can be the platform, message me. I'm not kidding. Like maybe there's a way to go with it. Lots of hurdles, but if you're one of those people, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Make sure you're following the show so you get notifications that we have a new episode that's just come out, because we have some big guests coming on. We said that last time. It's still true. And go ahead and subscribe to YouTube if you want to see us on YouTube. If you want to see our faces, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you'd like to see our faces, go ahead and click subscribe. Links are always in the episode description, and leave a rating and review. If you like this episode, it's a cost-free, effective way to support the show. Aaron, always a pleasure talking with you. Glad,
you too, man.
Glad we got to dig more into this topics. Covered a lot of ground. Be interesting to listen back to. But always a pleasure. And
I bet words per minute was high on that one.
High.
Yeah.
High.
Yeah.
MPW.
We were flying.
Words per WPM.
Yeah.
Dyslexia.
That's okay.
Talk about being honest.
Yeah.
Till next time. See you later.
Take care.